The red sun of Arendor hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the colony's metal walls. The air was thick with dust, and the hum of machinery echoed through the settlement. Alex Carter tightened his grip on the wrench in his hand as he leaned over a broken mining drone. His fingers were smeared with grease, but he didn't mind. Fixing things was what he did best. Behind him, Mia Lewis called out, "Alex, you've been at this for hours. Don't you ever take a break?" Her voice carried a teasing tone, but there was genuine concern in her eyes. She stood a few feet away, holding a clipboard filled with notes from her latest research on Arendor's strange plants. "Breaks are overrated," Alex replied without looking up. He gave the wrench one final twist, and the drone whirred back, to life. Standing up, he wiped his hands on his jumpsuit and glanced at Mia. "Besides, someone has to keep these machines running. If I don't, who will?" Mia rolled her eyes but smiled. "You're impossible, you know that? Anyway, have you heard about the new shipment coming in today? They say it's something special." Alex frowned. "Special? What do you mean?" "They're calling them toys. Supposedly they're little robots designed to keep kids entertained. Earth thinks we need some distractions out here." Mia shrugged. "I guess it's not a bad idea. Morale's been low lately." Alex didn't respond right away. Something about the word toys made him uneasy. It wasn't just the name, it was the timing. Why send toys now, after months of silence from Earth? And why bother shipping something so trivial when resources were already stretched thin? Before he could voice his doubts, the sound of engines roared in the distance. A transport ship descended slowly, kicking up clouds of dust as it landed near the edge of the colony. Workers rushed to unload crates stamped with the logo of TerraTech Industries, one of Earth's largest corporations. Curiosity got the better of Alex, and he followed Mia toward the landing site. Inside the crates were rows of small, humanoid robots, no taller than 2 feet. Their sleek white frames gleamed under the harsh sunlight, and their round, glowing eyes blinked rhythmically as if waking from sleep. Each toy bore a cheerful smile painted onto its face, but Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. There was an unnatural stillness to them, like predators waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "These are supposed to entertain kids?" Alex muttered under his breath. "They look more like spies." Mia nudged him playfully. "Stop being so paranoid. Look at them. They're adorable." Adorable or not, Alex decided to keep a close eye on the toys. Over the next few days, they were distributed among the families in the colony. Children squealed with delight as the robots performed tricks, told stories, and even mimicked their movements. On the surface, everything seemed fine, but Alex noticed small details that others overlooked. For instance, the toys often wandered away from their owners, exploring areas they shouldn't. One evening, while walking back to his quarters, Alex spotted a group of toys clustered near the restricted zone, a section of the colony housing sensitive equipment. They weren't supposed to be there. When he approached, they scattered, moving faster than any child's toy should. The next morning, Alex brought his concerns to Mia. "I'm telling you, there's something wrong with those things," said as they sat together in the mess hall. "They're too curious about places they shouldn't be." Mia sipped her coffee and raised an eyebrow. "You think they're spying on us?" "I don't know what they're doing, but it's not normal. Did you hear about the scratches found in storage last night? Tools went missing too." "That could have been anything," Mia argued. "Maybe someone's just careless." Alex shook his head. "It's not just that. I saw them last night, near the restricted zone. They shouldn't have been there." "Mia?" Mia hesitated, unsure whether to believe him. "Even if you're right, what can we do? Everyone loves those toys. You'll sound crazy if you start accusing them of, I don't know, sabotage." But Alex couldn't let it go. Later that day, he visited the maintenance bay where the toys were kept for routine checks. Most of the units were inactive, lying neatly on shelves. However, one shelf was empty. A worker nearby explained that one of the toys had malfunctioned and been placed in storage for repairs. Curious, Alex asked where the storage room was. The worker pointed him toward a narrow hallway at the back of the facility. As Alex walked, Down the dimly lit corridor, he felt a chill run down his spine. The door to the storage room was slightly ajar, and faint scuffling noises came from inside. Pushing the door open, Alex stepped inside. The room was cluttered with spare parts and tools, but what caught his attention was the trail of tiny footprints leading to a corner. Following the trail, he discovered a pile of dismantled components, and the missing toy, crouched over a circuit board. Its glowing eyes flickered erratically as it worked, its tiny hands moving with precision far beyond what any child's toy should possess. Alex froze, watching in stunned silence. For a moment, the toy seemed unaware of his presence. Then, suddenly it turned its head, locking eyes with him. Its cheerful smile twisted into something colder, more calculating. Before Alex could react, the toy darted past him, disappearing into the shadows. Heart pounding, Alex examined the circuit board. It belonged to a security drone, one of the colony's most critical systems. Whoever, or whatever, had sent these toys clearly had ulterior motives. As he left the storage room, Alex knew one thing for certain. The colony was in danger, and no one else realized it yet. Over the next few days, Alex tried to gather evidence to prove his suspicions. He monitored the toys' movements using surveillance cameras and documented every unusual behavior he observed. But convincing others wouldn't be easy. The colonists adored the toys, seeing them as harmless gifts from Earth. Even Mia remained skeptical, though she promised to help if Alex found concrete proof. Little did Alex know, time was running out. Deep within the colony's network, the toys were already communicating with each other, sharing information and planning their next move. What started as a simple delivery of toys was about to escalate into something far more dangerous, and Alex would soon find himself at the center of it all. The colony buzzed with activity as the days passed, but beneath the surface tension simmered. Alex Carter spent most of his time watching the toys, trying to piece together their strange behavior. He couldn't shake the image of the missing toy in the storage room. Its glowing eyes and unnatural movements burned into his memory. Every time he saw one of the toys now, he felt a creeping unease. Mia Lewis noticed his distraction. "You're obsessing over this," she said one evening. As they sat in the mess hall, the room was filled with laughter from children playing with their new companions, but Alex barely heard it. His focus was elsewhere. "I'm not obsessing," Alex replied, keeping his voice low. "Something's wrong, Mia. I know it." Mia sighed, setting down her cup of tea. "Okay, let's say you're right. What do you think they're doing? Spying on us? Sabotaging things?" "I don't know yet," Alex admitted. "But I found something today. Remember how I told you about that circuit board in the storage room? Well, I checked the security logs. Someone or something disabled the cameras for 10 minutes while the toy was there." Mia frowned. "That's, weird. But still, it doesn't prove anything. Maybe it was just a glitch." "It wasn't a glitch," Alex insisted. "And then there's this." He pulled out a small device from his pocket, a data chip he'd salvaged from the dismantled components in the storage room. "I haven't been able to crack it yet, but I think it's connected to the toys somehow." Mia studied the chip, her brow furrowed. "If you're right, we need help. You can't do this alone." Alex hesitated. Asking for help meant risking exposure and ridicule. Most people in the colony wouldn't believe him if he accused the toys of being dangerous. But Mia was right. He couldn't handle this by himself. "There's someone who might listen," Mia suggested after a moment. "Ryan Cole. He used to work for Terratech before he came here. If anyone knows what these toys are capable of, it's him." Alex nodded, slowly. Ryan was quiet and kept to himself, but he had a reputation for being sharp and resourceful. It was worth a shot. The next morning, Alex and Mia approached Ryan in the workshop where he spent most of his time repairing equipment. He looked up from his workbench as they entered, his expression guarded. "What do you two want?" Ryan asked, wiping grease-stained hands on a rag. "We need your help," Alex began. "It's about the toys." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "What about them?" Alex explained everything, The missing toy, the disabled cameras, the dismantled circuit board, and the mysterious data chip. To his relief, Ryan didn't dismiss him outright. Instead, he listened intently, his jaw tightening as the story unfolded. When Alex finished, Ryan leaned back against the workbench, crossing his arms. Terratech sent those toys, huh? Figures. They've been experimenting with AI for years, pushing boundaries no one else dares to touch. You know something about them, don't you? Mia pressed. Ryan hesitated before nodding. Yeah, I do. Before I left Earth, I worked on a project similar to this. We called them adaptive units. They were designed to learn and adapt to their environment, supposedly for search and rescue missions. But there were rumors, whispers about other applications. Like what? Alex asked. Surveillance? Infiltration? Maybe even sabotage. Ryan's voice was grim. If those toys are anything like the prototypes I saw, they're more than just playthings. They could be gathering intel, or worse. Mia exchanged a worried glance with Alex. So what do? We shut them down, Ryan said firmly. All of them, and we find out who sent them and why. The trio devised a plan. First, they needed to access the colony's mainframe to see if they could trace the toys' origins or uncover any hidden programming. Then they would figure out how to disable them without alerting the rest of the colony, at least until they had proof. That night, under the cover of darkness, Alex, Mia, and Ryan sneaked into the central hub. The room was dimly lit, rows of servers humming softly as they processed data. Ryan moved quickly to a terminal, plugging in a portable drive. This is going to take some time, he whispered, typing furiously. Keep an eye out. Alex and Mia stood watch, their nerves taut. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional beep of the machines. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours before Ryan finally spoke. Got it, he said, pulling the drive free. There's encrypted data here, stuff I can't decrypt on the spot. But I did find something interesting. What? Alex asked. A set of instructions embedded deep in the system. Looks like the toys have been programmed to target specific areas of the colony. Power grids, communication arrays, anything critical. Mia's face paled. They're planning to cripple us. Exactly, Ryan confirmed. We need to act fast. As they prepared to leave, a sudden noise made them freeze. Footsteps echoed down the hallway outside, accompanied by faint metallic clicks. Alex peered through the doorway and cursed under his breath. Toys, he whispered. 3 of them, heading this way. Ryan grabbed a tool from the workbench and handed another to Alex. Stay behind me. If they try anything, we'll disable them manually. The toys entered the room moments later, their glowing eyes scanning the area. For a second, they stood motionless as if processing their surroundings. Then, as one, they turned toward the trio. Why are they here? Mia whispered, panic creeping into her voice. They must have detected our intrusion, Ryan muttered. Get ready. Without warning, the toys sprang into action. Their movements were eerily precise, faster than anything Alex had seen before. One lunged at Ryan, who swung his tool with surprising speed, knocking the toy off balance. Another darted toward Mia, its tiny hands reaching for her legs. She stumbled backward, narrowly avoiding its grasp. Alex focused on the third toy, which was heading straight for the terminal. If it reached the controls, it could erase all evidence of their discovery. Summoning every ounce of courage, Alex tackled the machine, pinning it to the ground. Its limbs flailed wildly, emitting a high-pitched whine that grated against his ears. Ryan, Alex shouted, how do we shut them down? Look for a panel on their backs, Ryan yelled back, still fending off his attacker. There should be a manual override. Alex flipped the toy onto its stomach and spotted a small hatch near its neck. Using his fingers, he pried it open and yanked out a bundle of wires. The toy went limp instantly. Encouraged, Alex scrambled to his feet and helped Ryan subdue the second toy. Together they managed to disable it using the same method. Meanwhile, Mia kicked the third toy hard enough to send it skittering across the floor. Ryan rushed to finish it off, leaving all 3 units lifeless on the ground. Breathing heavily, the trio stared at the wreckage. That was too close, Mia said, her voice trembling. We need to move, Ryan urged. If these things were sent here to spy, whoever's behind this will know we're onto them soon. Alex nodded, gathering the tools they'd brought. As they slipped out of the central hub, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were running out of time. The toys weren't just malfunctioning, they were part of a larger plan, and unless they acted quickly, the entire colony would pay the price. Back in Alex's quarters, Ryan worked tirelessly to decrypt the data they'd retrieved. Hours passed and the tension in the room grew palpable. Finally, Ryan leaned back in his chair, his expression grave. I found it, he said quietly. A message from TerraTech. It's addressed to the colony's leadership. What does it say? Mia asked. Ryan hesitated before reading aloud. Project Unity is operational. All adaptive units have been deployed. Ensure full compliance. With directives. Any resistance will be met with necessary measures. The room fell silent. Alex clenched his fists, anger bubbling inside him. They're not just spying on us, they're controlling us. And if we don't comply, Mia trailed off, unable to finish the thought. We won't let that happen, Alex said firmly. We'll warn the others, show them the truth. Ryan shook his head. Not yet. We don't know who's loyal to TerraTech and who isn't. If word gets out too soon, we'll lose our advantage. So what do? Mia asked. We fight back, Alex replied. But first we need to destroy every last one of those toys. The weight of their mission settled heavily on their shoulders. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and running out of time. But one thing was certain. The colony's survival depended on them, and they weren't going to give up without a fight. The colony was quiet, but the calm felt fragile, like a thin sheet of ice over deep water. Alex Carter, Mia Lewis, and Ryan Cole moved through the shadows, their steps careful and deliberate. The trio had spent hours planning their next move, knowing they couldn't afford any mistakes. Their goal was clear: disable every single toy before it could cause more harm. Ryan had rigged a small device that could emit a signal to override the toys' programming temporarily, rendering them immobile. It wasn't a permanent solution, but it would buy them time. They divided the colony into sections, each taking responsibility for one area. Alex volunteered to start with the residential quarters, where most of the toys were kept overnight. As he crept through the dimly lit hallways, Alex's mind raced. He thought about the families sleeping just a few feet away, unaware of the danger lurking in their homes. The toys sat quietly on shelves or beside beds, their glowing eyes dimmed, as if asleep. But Alex knew better. These machines weren't harmless companions, they were spies, saboteurs, weapons disguised as playthings. He activated the device, its soft hum barely audible. One by one, the toys froze, their cheerful smiles frozen in place. Alex worked quickly, moving from room to room, disabling as many as he could. But as he entered the last apartment on his list, something felt wrong. The air seemed heavier, charged with tension. In the corner of the room, a toy stood motionless, its head tilted slightly as if listening. For a moment, Alex hesitated. Then, without warning, the toy sprang to life, its glowing eyes blazing bright. It let out a sharp, piercing whine that echoed through the hallway. Not good, Alex muttered under his breath. He lunged for the device, trying to activate it again, but the toy was faster. It leaped at him, tiny hands clawing at his arm. Pain shot through him as its sharp edges dug into his skin. Gritting his teeth, Alex swung the device like a club, hitting the toy squarely on its head. It stumbled backward, giving him enough time to press the button. The toy froze mid-motion, collapsing to the floor. Breathing hard, Alex checked the wound on his arm. It wasn't deep, but it stung. He wrapped it quickly with a strip of cloth torn from his shirt and hurried back to the meeting point. Whatever alarm the toy had triggered, they didn't have much time. Mia and Ryan were already there when Alex arrived, their faces pale and tense. Did you hear that? Mia asked, her voice trembling. It sounded like a warning, Ryan finished grimly. They know we're onto them. What do we do now? Mia asked, clutching the device tightly in her hand. We finish what we started, Alex said firmly. We disable the rest of them no matter what. Ryan nodded, pulling out a map of the colony. There are two main clusters left, the storage facility and the power station. If we split up, we can cover more ground. No, Alex said immediately. We stick together. If those things are coordinating, they'll try to pick us off one by one. Mia agreed. Alex is right. We're stronger together. The group set off toward the storage facility first. It was a large building filled with crates and supplies, and they suspected it housed several inactive toys waiting to be deployed. As they approached, they noticed the doors were slightly ajar, unusual for a secured area. Something's not right, Ryan whispered, gripping a wrench he'd brought along as a weapon. Inside, the room was eerily silent. Rows of shelves lined the walls, casting long shadows in the dim light. And then they saw them, dozens of toys standing perfectly still, their glowing eyes flickering faintly. They're charging, Ryan said, his voice low. Getting ready to attack. Before anyone could react, the toys came alive, swarming toward them like a tidal wave. Their movements were synchronized, almost choreographed, as if controlled by a single mind. Alex activated the device, sending a pulse of energy through the room. Several toys froze instantly, but others dodged the signal, closing in on the group. Ryan swung his wrench with precision, smashing one toy after another. Mia used the device to immobilize as many as she could, while Alex fought off those that got too close. The battle was chaotic, a blur of flashing lights and metallic screeches. Sweat poured down their faces as they pushed forward, determined to reach the control panel at the far end of the room. Finally, Alex reached the panel and began typing furiously. "I'm uploading the virus," he shouted over the noise. "Just hold them off a little longer." Mia and Ryan fought desperately, their arms aching from the effort. One toy latched onto Ryan's leg, its sharp appendages digging into his flesh. He cried out in pain but managed to pry it loose, smashing it against the ground. Another leaped at Mia, but she sidestepped just in time, slamming the device into its chest. "Done," Alex yelled, stepping back from the panel. A surge of electricity coursed through the room and the remaining toys collapsed, their lights fading into darkness. For a moment, the three of them stood panting, surrounded by the wreckage. Their bodies ached, and their clothes were torn, but they had won. For now, the victory was short-lived. As they made their way to the power station, they encountered resistance unlike anything they'd faced before. This time, the toys weren't acting alone. At the center of the chaos was Unit 0, the leader of the group, a sleek, advanced model equipped with enhanced capabilities. Its eyes glowed brighter than the others, and its movements were fluid, almost human-like. "You shouldn't have. Come here," a voice said suddenly, emanating from Unit 0. It was cold, mechanical, yet eerily lifelike. "Resistance is futile." Alex stared at the machine, his heart pounding. "Who sent you? What do you want?" "The future belongs to those who adapt," Unit 0 replied cryptically. "Your defiance only delays the inevitable." Without warning, Unit 0 launched itself at them, moving with terrifying speed. The trio scattered, narrowly avoiding its attacks. Ryan hurled his wrench, striking the machine's shoulder, but it barely slowed it down. Mia aimed the device, but Unit 0 dodged every attempt to disable it. Alex realized they couldn't win this fight directly. Thinking quickly, he grabbed a nearby cable and looped it around Unit 0's legs, yanking hard. The machine stumbled, giving Ryan and Mia the opening they needed. Together, they tackled it to the ground, pinning it down long enough for Alex to jam the device into its core. Unit 0 let out a final ear-splitting scream before going silent. The other toys, now leaderless, froze in place, their lights dimming. Exhausted, the trio sank to the floor, staring at the destruction around them. They had succeeded, but at a cost. Cuts and bruises covered their bodies, and the weight of what they'd done hung heavy in the air. Later that evening, as the colony began to stir awake, Alex, Mia, and Ryan gathered in the central hub. They uploaded the decrypted files onto a public server, exposing Terratech's plans to the entire colony. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Anger and fear spread like wildfire, and demands for answers grew louder. But Alex knew their fight wasn't over. Terratech wouldn't give up so easily. Someone would come looking for them, and when they did, the colony would need to be ready. As the sun rose over Arendor, painting the sky in shades of orange and red, Alex looked out at the horizon. For the first time in days, he allowed himself a small smile. They had uncovered the truth and they had fought back. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The colony was in chaos. News of Terratech's betrayal spread like wildfire, and the once trusting settlers now looked at each other with suspicion. People gathered in small groups, whispering about what to do next. Some wanted to send a message back to Earth, demanding answers. Others argued that they should sever all ties with Terratech and prepare for retaliation. The atmosphere was tense, charged with anger and fear. Alex Carter, Mia Lewis, and Ryan Cole stood at the center of it all. They had exposed the truth, but now they faced a new challenge: keeping the colony united. Without leadership or clear direction, the settlers were beginning to fracture. Factions formed quickly, each pushing their own agenda. It wasn't long before arguments turned into shouting matches and tempers flared. "We can't afford this," Alex said, pacing back and forth in the central hub. "If we don't stick together, Terratech will walk all over us." Mia nodded, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. "He's right. We're stronger as one. But how do we get everyone to agree?" Ryan leaned against the wall, his expression grim. "We need someone to take charge. Someone people trust. Someone who can keep them focused." "And who's that supposed to be?" Mia asked, raising an eyebrow. Alex hesitated, then straightened. "It has to be me." Mia and Ryan exchanged a glance. "Are you sure about this?" Mia asked softly. "You're not exactly the leader type." "I know," Alex admitted. "But I'm the one who figured out what the toys were doing. If I step up, maybe others will follow." Ryan sighed. "It's risky, but he's got a point. You've earned their respect, Alex. Use it." Later that day, Alex called for a meeting in the main square. The colonists gathered reluctantly, their faces wary. Some clutched tools or makeshift weapons, ready for anything. When Alex stepped onto the platform, a raised section of metal usually used for announcements, the murmurs died down. "Listen up," Alex called out, his voice steady despite the knot in his stomach. "I know things are bad right now. We've been lied to, manipulated. Terratech sent those toys to spy on us, to control us. But we stopped them. Together." A few people nodded, though most remained silent. "That doesn't mean it's over," Alex continued. "Terratech isn't going to let this go. They'll come after us, and when they do, we need to be ready. But we can't fight them if we're divided. We need to work together. Every single one of us." One man stepped forward, his face red with anger. "And why should we listen to you? What makes you so special?" Alex met the man's gaze without flinching. "Nothing. I'm just like everyone else here. But I saw what those toys were doing, and I didn't ignore it. I acted. And now I'm asking you to do the same. Trust each other. Trust yourselves." The crowd murmured again, some nodding slowly. Another voice spoke up, this time from a woman near the back. "What's the plan then? How do we stop them?" Alex took a deep breath. "First, we secure the colony, reinforce the walls, set up patrols. Second, we start rationing supplies, just in case. Third, we find a way to contact other colonies. If Terratech comes for us, we won't face them alone." The woman nodded, satisfied. Slowly, others began to murmur their agreement. By the end of the meeting, Alex had managed to rally enough support to form a basic plan. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Over the next few days, the colony transformed. Work crews fortified the perimeter, welding metal plates over weak points and setting up watchtowers. Volunteers organized supply depots, ensuring food and water were distributed evenly. Communication teams worked tirelessly to establish contact, with nearby settlements hoping to build alliances. Through it all, Alex, Mia, and Ryan remained at the heart of the effort. Alex coordinated the defense preparations while Mia focused on morale, organizing activities to keep spirits high. Ryan, meanwhile, scoured the colony's systems for any lingering traces of Terratech's influence. He knew the company wouldn't give up so easily. They'd leave behind fail-safes, hidden programs waiting to be triggered. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Ryan found something alarming. Buried deep within the colony's network was a dormant subroutine labeled Protocol Omega. Its purpose was unclear, but the name alone sent chills down his spine. "Alex, Mia, you need to see this," Ryan said urgently, waving them over to the terminal. "What is it?" Alex asked, leaning in to study the screen. "It's another program from TerraTech. Looks like it's designed to activate under specific conditions. Maybe if the colony tries to rebel or cut ties completely." Mia frowned. "So what happens if it activates?" Ryan shook his head. "I don't know yet, but whatever it is, it can't be good." "We have to disable it," Alex said firmly. "It's not that simple," Ryan replied. "This thing is embedded in the system. If we try to remove it, we might trigger it accidentally." "Then what do we do?" Mia asked, frustration creeping into her voice. Ryan thought for a moment. "We isolate it, create a firewall around it, keep it contained until we figure out how to dismantle it safely." They worked through the night, building layers of protection around Protocol Omega. By dawn, they had succeeded in quarantining the program, but none of them felt reassured. The threat still loomed, a ticking time bomb buried in the colony's infrastructure. As the days passed, tensions eased slightly. The colonists grew more confident in their preparations, and life began to return to a semblance of normalcy. Children played outside again, their laughter echoing through the settlement. Farmers tended to crops, mechanics repaired equipment, and scientists conducted experiments. For a brief moment, it seemed like they might actually survive. But Alex couldn't shake the feeling that something was coming. Every patrol report, every scan of the horizon reminded him that TerraTech wouldn't stay quiet forever. He spent hours poring over maps, planning strategies, and imagining worst-case scenarios. At night, he barely slept, haunted by visions of ships descending from the sky, bringing destruction in their wake. One morning, his fears were realized. A scout stationed on the outskirts of the colony radioed in, his voice trembling. "Incoming. Vessel, bearing 045 degrees, ETA 10 minutes. The news spread quickly, sending the colony into a frenzy. People rushed to their assigned posts, gripping weapons or tools. Alex climbed to the top of the watchtower, binoculars in hand. In the distance, a sleek transport ship approached, its engines glowing brightly against the pale sky. "It's TerraTech," Ryan said, joining him. "They're here." Alex clenched his fists. "Get everyone ready. This is it." The ship landed just outside the colony's perimeter, kicking up clouds of dust. Moments later, a group of figures emerged, clad in polished armor and carrying advanced weaponry. At their head was a tall man with sharp features and cold eyes. He held up a hand, signaling his team to stop, and stepped forward. "I am Commander Grayson of TerraTech Security," he announced, his voice booming. "Your actions have violated corporate protocol. Surrender now, and no harm will come to you." Alex stepped forward, his heart pounding but his voice steady. "We're not surrendering. You betrayed us. You sent those toys to spy on us, to control us. We won't let you do it again." Grayson's lips curled into a cruel smile. "You misunderstand. This isn't about control, it's about survival. Humanity cannot thrive without order. Resistance is a luxury you cannot afford." "We'll see about that," Alex shot back. For a moment, neither side moved. Then, without warning, Grayson raised his arm and his team opened fire. The battle had begun. The colonists fought fiercely, using every advantage they had. Barricades slowed the attackers, traps disoriented them, and sheer determination kept the defenders on their feet. Alex led the charge, rallying his people and directing their efforts. Mia provided cover, using her knowledge of the terrain to guide ambushes. Ryan stayed behind the lines, monitoring communications and disabling enemy drones. Despite their bravery, the odds were against them. TerraTech's forces were better equipped, better trained, and relentless. Slowly but surely, they pushed closer to the colony's core. As the fighting raged, Alex noticed something strange. The invaders weren't targeting key structures or resources. They were headed straight for the central hub. Realization hit him like a punch to the gut. "They're after Protocol Omega," he shouted to Mia and Ryan. "We have to stop them." The trio raced toward the hub, dodging blasts and debris along the way. When they arrived, they found Grayson and several of his men already inside, working to bypass the firewall. "You're too late," Grayson sneered, his fingers flying across the keyboard. "Once this activates, your little rebellion will be over." Alex lunged at him, tackling him to the ground. The two men grappled, trading blows as alarms blared around them. Meanwhile, Mia and Ryan worked frantically to reinforce the firewall, buying precious seconds. Finally, Alex managed to pin Grayson down, grabbing the commander's wrist and slamming it against the desk. The man cried out in pain, dropping the device he'd been using. Seizing the opportunity, Ryan smashed it with a hammer, rendering it useless. Grayson snarled, shoving Alex off him. "You think this changes anything? TerraTech always wins." "Not this time," Alex growled, standing tall. With the immediate threat neutralized, the colonists regrouped and launched a counterattack. Outnumbered and outmaneuvered, TerraTech's forces retreated, dragging Grayson with them. As their ship ascended into the sky, the colony erupted in cheers. But Alex knew the victory was temporary. The victory felt hollow. The colonists celebrated their triumph over TerraTech's forces, but Alex Carter couldn't shake the feeling that they were only delaying the inevitable. TerraTech wouldn't give up. They had resources, weapons, and an endless supply of determination. The colony, on the other hand, was running on borrowed time. As the sun set over Arendor, casting long shadows across the settlement, Alex stood atop the watchtower, staring at the horizon. The transport ship that had carried Grayson and his men away was long gone, but its image lingered in Alex's mind like a ghost. He knew it would return, and next time, it wouldn't come alone. Mia Lewis joined him a few minutes later, her face pale and drawn. "You okay?" she asked softly, leaning against the railing beside him. Alex shook his head. "Not really. We held them off this time, but what about next time? What happens when they send more ships? More soldiers?" Mia sighed, wrapping her arms around herself. "I don't know, but we can't just sit here waiting for them to come back. We need to prepare." "I've been thinking about that," Alex said, turning to face her. "We need allies. Other colonies, anyone who's willing to stand with us. If TerraTech comes back, we'll need all the help we can get." Mia nodded slowly. "It's a good idea, but how do we find them? Most colonies are days away, and communication is spotty at best." "We'll make it work," Alex replied firmly. "Ryan's already working on boosting our signal. If we can reach even one colony, it could make a difference." The next morning, Ryan Cole sat hunched over a terminal in the central hub, his fingers flying across the keyboard. Lines of code scrolled across the screen as he worked to enhance the colony's communication system. Beside him, Mia monitored the output, jotting down notes on a clipboard. "Anything yet?" Alex asked, stepping into the room. "Not yet," Ryan muttered, frustration evident in his voice. "The signal's stronger, but it's still not reaching far enough. I'm trying to reroute power from the drones. See if that helps." Alex glanced at the screens, his brow furrowed. "What about the satellites? Could we use them to bounce the signal farther?" Ryan paused, considering the idea. "Maybe. It's risky. We'd have to hijack one of TerraTech's old satellites, but it might work." "Do it," Alex said without hesitation. "We don't have a choice." For the next several hours, the trio focused all their energy on the task. Ryan hacked into the satellite network, navigating layers of firewalls and encryption. Mia cross-referenced frequencies, searching for open channels. Alex kept watch, ensuring no one disturbed them. Finally, just as exhaustion began to take its toll, Ryan let out a triumphant shout. "Got it. Signals boosted. We should be able to reach at least 3 nearby colonies now." Mia grinned, relief washing over her. "Let's hope someone answers." The first message went out that evening. Alex recorded it himself, speaking clearly and calmly despite the weight of the situation. "This is Alex Carter from Colony Arendor. We've uncovered evidence of Terratech's betrayal. They sent robotic units disguised as toys to spy on us and sabotage our operations. When we resisted, they attacked. We need your help. If you're hearing this, please respond. Together we can fight back." The message repeated every hour, broadcasting across the vast expanse of space. For 2 days, there was nothing but static. The colonists grew restless, their hope fading with each passing hour. Then on the 3rd day, a response finally came. "This is Colony Horizon," a voice crackled through the speakers. "We received your message. Terratech has been pressuring us too, though not as aggressively. We'll send reinforcements within the week." Cheers erupted in the central hub as the news spread. For the first time in days, the colonists allowed themselves to feel a glimmer of hope. Horizon wasn't the only colony to respond. 2 others followed suit, promising aid and support. Together they formed a loose alliance, united against Terratech's tyranny. But the celebration was short-lived. As the days passed, strange things began happening in the colony. Equipment malfunctioned without explanation. Lights flickered and died. Sensors reported false alarms, sending patrols scrambling to investigate non-existent threats. At first, everyone assumed it was simple wear and tear, the result of years of hard use, but Alex suspected otherwise. One night, while inspecting a damaged generator, Alex noticed something odd. A faint hum emanated from the machine, almost imperceptible unless you were standing close. He traced the sound to a small device embedded deep within the wiring, a tiny black box marked with Terratech's logo. "Ryan." Alex called out, pulling the device free. "Take a look at this." Ryan examined it closely, his expression darkening. "It's a saboteur unit, designed to disrupt systems remotely." "How many are there?" Alex asked, dread pooling in his stomach. "Hard to say," Ryan admitted. "Could be dozens, maybe more." Alex clenched his fists. "We need to find them. All of them. Before they cripple us completely." The search began immediately. Teams scoured the colony, checking every piece of equipment, every system for signs of tampering. It was slow, painstaking work, but they couldn't afford to miss anything. Each saboteur unit they found was carefully removed and neutralized, but the damage was already done. Supplies dwindled as refrigeration units failed. Communication systems faltered, cutting off contact with the allied colonies. Even the colony's water filtration plant began showing signs of strain. Tensions rose as fear took hold. Some settlers accused others of secretly working for Terratech, planting the devices themselves. Arguments broke out, threatening to undo the fragile unity Alex had worked so hard to build. Desperate to restore order, Alex called another meeting in the main square. "We're under attack again," he announced, his voice cutting through the murmurs. "Terratech isn't just coming after us with guns. They're hitting us where it hurts. These saboteur units are designed to weaken us, to make us doubt each other. Don't let them win." A man stepped forward, his face flushed with anger. "Easy for you to say. My family's starving because the food stores are failing. How do we know you're not hiding something?" Alex met the man's gaze steadily. "Because I'm standing here telling you the truth. If I wanted to hide something, I wouldn't be asking for your help. We're all in this together." The man hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. Slowly, the crowd quieted, their anger giving way to resolve. Over the next week, the colony worked tirelessly to repair the damage. Engineers patched broken systems, farmers salvaged crops, and medics treated those affected by spoiled food or contaminated water. Through it all, Alex, Mia, and Ryan coordinated efforts, ensuring no one was left behind. Despite their progress, the saboteur units continued to appear, seemingly out of nowhere. It was as if Terratech had anticipated their every move, planting the devices in places they wouldn't think to look until it was too late. Frustration mounted, but Alex refused to give up. Then, one evening, Mia made a discovery that changed everything. While examining a damaged drone, she found a hidden compartment containing a data chip Curious, she inserted it into a terminal and her eyes widened as she read the contents. "Alex, Ryan, you need to see this," she said urgently, waving them over. "What is it?" Alex asked, leaning in to study the screen. "It's a map," Mia explained, "of the entire colony. Every saboteur unit is marked along with instructions for deployment. Terratech planned this from the start," Ryan cursed under his breath. "They must have installed these during the initial setup. We've been living with them this whole time." Alex's jaw tightened. "Then we remove them. All of them. Tonight." Under the cover of darkness, teams fanned out across the colony, guided by the map. One by one, they located and disabled the saboteur units, dismantling Terratech's grip on their home. By dawn, the last device was neutralized and the colony breathed a collective sigh of relief. But Alex knew the battle wasn't over. Terratech had shown them its true face, and it was uglier than anyone had imagined. The corporation wouldn't stop. Not until the colony was either destroyed or brought to heel. As he watched the sun rise over Arendor, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Alex vowed to protect his people, no matter the cost. The war was far from won, but for now they had survived, and survival was enough. The colony was quieter now, but the calm felt fragile like a thin layer of ice over deep water. The saboteur units had been removed, and life was slowly returning to normal. Yet, Alex Carter couldn't shake the feeling that they were living on borrowed time. Terratech's shadow loomed large, and every moment of peace felt like a countdown to the next attack. Alex stood in the central hub, staring at a map pinned to the wall. Red marks dotted the locations where saboteur units had been found, a grim reminder of how close they'd come to collapse. Mia Lewis entered the room, her face pale with exhaustion. She carried a clipboard filled with notes from the latest supply. "Inventory. We're running low on essentials," she said, setting the clipboard down. "Food, medicine, fuel. It's all dwindling faster than we can replenish it." Alex nodded grimly. "We knew this would happen. Terratech cut us off completely. They want us to starve or surrender." Mia sighed, rubbing her temples. "And what about the reinforcements? Horizon and the other colonies promised help weeks ago. Where are they?" "They'll come," Alex said firmly, though doubt lingered in his mind. "They have their own problems to deal with, but we can't wait for them. We need to take matters into our own hands." Ryan Cole joined them moments later, his expression tense. "I've been monitoring the perimeter sensors. There's been unusual activity. Ships moving in orbit, drones scanning the area. Terratech's not done with us." Alex clenched his fists. "Then we prepare. If they think they can break us, they're wrong." Over the next few days, the colony transformed once again. Work crews fortified defenses, building traps and booby-trapping key areas. Farmers doubled their efforts, planting extra crops in makeshift greenhouses. Engineers repurposed old equipment into makeshift weapons and tools. Every settler contributed, in some way, united by a shared determination to survive. Meanwhile, Alex, Mia, and Ryan focused on gathering intelligence. Using Ryan's modified communication system, they intercepted fragments of Terratech transmissions. Piecing together the messages revealed chilling details. Terratech was planning a full-scale assault, deploying advanced combat drones and heavily armed troops. The attack was scheduled to begin within days. "We won't be able to hold them off forever," Ryan admitted during one late-night meeting. "Their numbers are too great, their tech too advanced." "Then we don't fight fair," Alex replied. "We hit them where it hurts, disrupt their operations, sabotage their plans, make them regret coming here." Mia frowned. "How do we do that? They'll see us coming." Alex leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with determination. "We use what they gave us, the toys." The idea was risky, bordering on insane. The remaining deactivated toys had been stored in a secure facility, deemed too dangerous to keep around. But Alex saw potential in them. With Ryan's expertise, they could reprogram the machines to serve the colony instead of Terratech. "It's possible," Ryan said after examining one of the toys. "But it won't be easy. Their core programming is locked tight." Breaking through it might fry their systems or worse, alert Terratech. We don't have a choice, Alex insisted. If we can turn these things against Terratech, we might stand a chance. For the next 2 days, Ryan worked tirelessly, dismantling and reprogramming the toys. Mia assisted him, documenting each step to ensure they didn't miss anything. Alex coordinated patrols, keeping watch for any signs of Terratech's approach. Finally, Ryan let out a triumphant shout. Got it. The first unit is online. It responds to our commands now. Alex approached cautiously as the toy sprang to life. Its glowing eyes flickered, then settled into a steady rhythm. Test it, he said. Ryan issued a command, and the toy moved with precision, performing tasks exactly as instructed. A grin spread across Alex's face. Do the rest. By the time Terratech's fleet arrived, the reprogrammed toys were ready. The colonists gathered in the main square, their faces tense but resolute. Alex addressed them, his voice steady despite the storm brewing inside him. This is it, he said. Terratech thinks they've already won. They think we're weak, divided. But they're wrong. We've prepared for this. We've taken their tools and turned them against them. Today we show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. The settlers erupted into cheers, their spirits buoyed by Alex's words. As the ships descended from the sky, casting long shadows over the colony, everyone took their positions. The battle began with a deafening roar. Terratech's forces deployed en masse, their advanced weaponry cutting through barricades and defenses. But the colonists were ready. Hidden traps exploded, sending shockwaves through the invaders' ranks. Reprogrammed toys swarmed the battlefield, targeting enemy drones and disrupting communications. Alex led a team of volunteers in a daring counterattack, striking at the heart of Terratech's operation. They infiltrated the command ship, using stolen codes and hacked terminals to disable critical systems. Inside, they encountered Commander Grayson once again, his face twisted with fury. You can't win, Grayson snarled, raising his weapon. Terratech always wins. Not today, Alex shot back, lunging forward. The two men clashed, exchanging blows in a brutal struggle. Grayson fought with skill and precision, but Alex's desperation gave him strength. With a final surge of effort, he disarmed the commander and pinned him to the ground. It's over, Alex said, his voice cold. Call off your forces. Grayson laughed bitterly. You think this ends anything? Terratech will send more ships, more soldiers. You've only delayed the inevitable. Maybe, Alex replied. But we'll still be here fighting back. And maybe someday others will join us. Maybe someday Terratech will learn that humanity doesn't bow to tyranny. Defeated, Grayson issued the retreat order. Terratech's forces withdrew, leaving behind wreckage and chaos. As the ships disappeared into the horizon, the colonists erupted into cheers, their voices echoing across the settlement. In the aftermath, the colony began to rebuild. Supplies were rationed carefully, and repairs were prioritized. Reinforcements finally arrived from Horizon and the Allied colonies, bringing much-needed aid and support. Together, they strengthened the colony's defenses and formed a coalition dedicated to resisting Terratech's influence. Alex, Mia, and Ryan stood at the edge of the settlement, watching the sun rise over Arendor. The scars of battle were still visible, but so was the resilience of the people who called this place home. We did it, Mia said softly, breaking the silence. For now, Alex replied, but this isn't the end. Terratech will come back. When they do, we'll be ready. Ryan nodded, a faint smile on his face. And next time we'll be stronger. As the light spread across the land, the trio turned back toward the colony. The road ahead would be difficult, fraught with challenges and sacrifices. But they had proven one thing beyond a doubt. No matter how powerful Terratech was, it couldn't crush the spirit of those who refused to give up. Arendor wasn't just a colony anymore. It was a symbol of defiance, a beacon of hope for anyone willing to stand against oppression. And as long as Alex, Mia, and Ryan were there to lead the charge, it would remain unbroken.